Hi, everybody. Although I don't think anybody's here yet, but that's okay. They'll show up. In the meantime, we can just keep on yakking.
That's it.
And this is Isaac. So for anybody that watches a replay, you'll be able to see who I was talking about. This is my good friend Isaac, and
Hello.
so I had the pleasure of meeting you through the Soul Sisters,
Yes.
through EQ and Sonia, who introduced me to you.
Right.
And it just felt like something just kind of clicked, you know.
Yes. Yes.
And I was like, oh, I really like that man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just got the good vibes off of it, you know.
Uh-huh.
Oh, look, we got a few in here now.
Yes. Hi,
Um,
everybody.
Hi, Serena. Hi, Barrette. Hi, Marina. I don't know who NJS55 is, but hello and welcome. And thank you all for being here. Like I said, this is my friend Isaac,
Yes.
who I thought lived in California, and I don't know why I thought that, and just found out no, actually he lives in Mississippi. So we're
Yes.
next door neighbors.
Yes.
And another Southerner hanging out, so that's kind of cool. And we're just gonna chat, and if y'all have questions, feel free to ask questions. I'll pull a card, and Isaac will just kind of tune
Yes.
in and see what he hears, and we'll go from there. And so, okay, let me get to the. I wanted to make sure I have my chat pulled up.
Mhm.
And so, okay, Serena's saying hi, Isaac. Everybody's saying hi, Isaac. Hi, Isaac.
How y'all doing?
And Brett. And another from Brett. And
Yes. Hi,
that's Marina. She's one of my sisters of the Mystical Tarot
Okay.
group that we read together every week.
Yes.
She's a sweet, sweet lady. And so I don't know if there's a particular topic you want to talk about. I don't know. It's Easter. What do you do
Yes.
for Easter? Do you celebrate it? Do you ignore it? Do you just gorge on chocolate? I mean,
Good question. Um, pretty much. I don't know. I don't have a, a lot of attachments to holidays, which is, I don't know what it is. It's not a bad or a good thing. It's just that I respect the holidays that people celebrate, and I do. I guess I'll have to tell the story. I do remember one Thanksgiving. I was alone, totally alone, and on that Thanksgiving, I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I think because society says you're supposed to be with someone or be with family, I think I was sort of feeling something about that. And then I hear in my head, in Japan, it's just another day. People are going about their business. And so I just said, okay, I'm good. And I just went on, but I really, I think it was even before then, I don't have a strong attachment to holidays.
that can be a good thing
Mhm.
because they can really stress people out, as we discussed just before Christmas.
Right, right.
Um, I know right after I had moved to Phoenix, um, one of the first Christmases that rolled around, and I couldn't afford to come home to see anybody,
Hmm.
and I couldn't, I didn't, I didn't really know anybody that well yet,
Hmm.
and so I like ordered a pizza and went to the movies, and that's what I did for Christmas Day,
Uh-huh. Hmm.
all by myself. So it was like once
Hmm.
you kind of get past the point that you're all by yourself, it's kind of
Right.
cool. It's no big deal. But
Hmm.
I know when I was a kid, Easter was a big deal.
Hmm.
The frilly Easter dress and the hat and the doing the eggs, and
Right.
we'd go to my great grandmother's house, and
Hmm.
everybody would go there. We'd all eat and
Hmm.
hang out, and all the kids would terrorize each other, and as
But
kids are wont to do.
but don't you think it's what we've told ourselves over and over? And when we tell ourselves something over and over, it becomes true that you're supposed to be. with family during the holidays. If you're not, you're going to be sad. And we keep telling ourselves these things over and over, and we don't realize that we can tell a different story.
Right. Yeah. Because I know that one Christmas, first time I'd ever been completely by myself at Christmas, I
Hmm.
was really bummed out that morning when I got up. And then I thought to myself, well, you don't have to be with anybody to enjoy Christmas Day.
Right.
What do you want to do? It was like, I want pizza. So
Hmm.
I ordered a pizza and then I went to the movies
Hmm.
and
Right.
saw a movie. And I had a great time. Just
Right.
me, myself, and I. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
hi, Viviani. Hi, Eleonora. Um, got us some new folks in here, a couple of questions. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't really celebrate Easter like we did when I was a kid.
Right.
Um, I don't know if I actually believe that story that wraps around it, but
Hmm. Hmm.
because since I've gotten older, I've learned that most of your Christian holidays were actually taken from pagan holidays and just
Hmm. Hmm.
refitted to fit the mold.
Right.
Um, and hi, son of what? We answered your question yesterday, so if you watch the replay, you can see it.
Hmm.
Um, but we, I mean, in high school, my two best friends, one was Jewish, one was Catholic.
Hmm.
So Friday nights we'd go to temple together. Sunday mornings we'd all go to mass together.
Uh-huh.
I figured, okay, I'm getting both books, so I'm doing pretty good.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't matter where I fall at it, I got both ends covered.
Hmm.
Um, but so yeah, I mean, we would start off with Passover with my one friend, and then end up Easter services with the other friend,
Hmm.
and so it was just, I mean, I didn't really care one way or the other.
Hmm.
I wasn't really religious. My
Hmm.
mom wasn't religious. She was spiritual in her own way, but
Right.
she did not like organized religion.
Hmm.
She didn't want to have anything to do with it. I know I was sharing the other night. There was one year, I think it was fourth or fifth grade,
Hmm.
that I went to Catholic school one year. Somebody had paid for
Hmm.
tuition for me to go.
Hmm.
And there was some event going on, and she had, all the parents were there. And we didn't have fathers, we had brothers at the
Okay.
school. So
Hmm.
they're, I guess, like a step down from
Hmm.
being a full priest.
Hmm.
And there was this one brother who was like really kind of poking at her because she didn't run off and get remarried.
Hmm.
Instead, she was just a single mom with two kids, and
Hmm.
and and at one point, and I remember standing there with her, and at one point he asked her, "Well, um, something to the effect of, well, who do you think God is, or what do you think of God?" And she said, "I think she's wonderful." Stopped him dead, and he was just like sputtering, didn't know what to say. And she said, "Doesn't the Bible say that we're made in God's image? So if that's true, then God's a woman because I'm a woman." And
Oh.
she turned around and walked away. I mean,
Oh.
and the thing that I remember the most was there was a nun standing behind him who was doing her damnedest not to laugh out loud. I mean, she just had that look on her face like, you got him.
Uh-huh. Ah.
and doing her best not to crack up.
Hmm.
So that was kind of cool.
Hmm.
Um, but oh, I took this down. I want to show you. I got this. They have them on sale at the local grocery store. They're little voodoo dolls,
Uh-huh.
but they're called watch over voodoo dolls
Okay.
because they're made for protection, to like
Okay.
watch over you. And I'm a big Wonder Woman fan, so
Oh.
when I saw they had Wonder Woman, I was like, "Oh, I gotta have that."
Oh. That's nice.
So I took it out and I blessed it and
Uh-huh.
staged it and did everything I could,
Uh-huh.
so nothing negative would attach.
Uh-huh.
And so hi, Shaw Woman. Okay, let's see. We've got a couple of questions here.
Okay.
So the first one It's from Eleonora. Do I have a spirit guide? Yes. Yes, you do. We all have them.
Mhm.
We all have spirit guides.
Mhm.
We all have, uh, the way it was explained to me, we have like birth guides
Mhm.
that are there with us when we were born,
Mhm.
but they don't always stay with us our entire life.
Mhm.
But we have spirit guides, and some may stay with you your whole life, and some may only be with you for a season, and then it's like they rotate out with somebody else, another spirit guide to step into the place.
Right.
But we all have them.
Mhm.
Um, it's just being aware. I think one of the wildest things that had happened to me was uh, two of the readers that are on here had gone to New Orleans, and on their way back, they stopped to meet me so we could all three get together for lunch.
Mhm.
And as we were going out to the cars for after lunch, one of them turned around and looked at me, and she was like, "Did you know you have the largest angel I've ever seen right behind you? Wings open, like in protective mode."
Mhm.
I was like, "No, I didn't know that. I don't see anything." She's like, "Yeah, he's right there. He's huge."
Uh-huh.
The other girl was already in the vehicle. And then she got out, walked back across the parking lot to come tell the other girl, let's go.
Uh-huh.
And she gets about 5 steps before she gets to me. And she stopped dead in her tracks. And she was like, "Sherry, did you know you have a huge angel that's standing right behind you?"
Uh-huh.
I
Wow.
was like, "Yeah, that's what she just said." And so when they didn't hear each other say that, so I was like, okay, that was kind of confirmation for me. But
I I see a question, Sherry, from
okay.
Shawoman. Am I pronouncing it properly?
Shaw woman, yeah. Um,
She says, I think my receptive abilities are jammed. And we were talking a little bit about that earlier.
yes, we were.
And what I would say is, I was telling Sherry about how I'm seeing sparkles around individuals, but it's usually only happening when I'm sitting in a session and I'm in a certain, I guess, a focused place. And I think, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to notice it more, trying to cultivate it more. And what I would say to you, it may happen in certain situations. I do know that I get guided if I walk through my bathroom. If I just walk in there and maybe I'm going to wash my hands or whatever, I'll get some type of message. But I would say focus on, try to pay attention to the times when the messages are coming to you. And I'm trying to figure out how to make it more consistent. But it would be like I'll see something like a person that may have a lot of sparkles around them. And then I see somebody else who has a few sparkles. So I'm trying to figure out, how do I use this to help the person? But that's what I would say to you. I don't think it's jammed. I think it's just paying attention to when it's coming through. If that makes sense.
It does make sense. Yeah. I mean, it's sometimes we can jam our own selves up because we focus too intently on it instead of just being open and just letting it happen.
Hmm.
Um, I know, like a lot of people know because I've talked about it, I have mediumship skills that are just starting to wake up. Sometimes they're right there, boy, I'm getting hits, boom, boom, boom. And other
Hmm.
times it's crickets. There's nothing. And so it's just very hit and miss. But it's just, I think when I try to be open to it
Right,
and just let it happen and not try to force it,
right.
that's when it tends to work better. And
Yes.
so I'm trying to teach myself how to just
Hmm.
open up and just let it happen.
Hmm.
And Shaw Woman, I pulled a card for you from the Oracle of the Seven Energies, and it just says broken open. And it talks about what this card is talking about is accepting grief of any sort. Doesn't necessarily have to mean somebody died, but just grief over a situation, grief over maybe a lost friendship, grief over a lost job. Sometimes we're grieving about something and don't even realize it. And that can jam us up. So, yeah, I would think just to just try to relax and let it flow is the best way I can put it. Let's see. And then Parette's asking, does Isaac have a channel?
I do not.
No, he does not.
Not yet.
Not yet. We're working on it.
I am thinking about it. I'm not quite sure what I want to do. Maybe some type of self-help, maybe meditation, something to help individuals with anxiety. And I am from the States, Perrette.
Yeah, he's next door to me. He's over in Mississippi.
I'm in Mississippi. Yeah.
So you got a Mississippi man and a Louisiana woman here. So kick that back to the song.
Right.
My husband used to sing that song because he was from Mississippi. So
yeah.
And but yeah, it's hi Kiba. Hi Marina. Let's see who else. I said hello to Marina. And Kiba just got here and I'm trying to pick hi Colleen. Colleen is here. The cool crone. And let's see here. All right. And Parette's original question was, could I get a card for Easter? Well, since Isaac doesn't do cards, how about I'll let him just see if he can focus in on maybe a message for you for Easter. May or may not work. And I'll pull a card. This is very laid back today, y'all.
While you're pulling, I'll just keep talking. What I'm getting is just be kind to yourself. Self-care, not just take care, but self-care. I think it's going to be really pleasant for you. That's what I'm feeling. I usually get a good feeling. Well, the way I'm feeling now, I'll have this feeling in therapy if somebody even comes in and tells me something terrible. And it's almost like I can estimate how long they'll start to feel better. And it starts coming out my mouth. I mean, like, you're not supposed to be doing guarantees in therapy, but I was like, I can almost guarantee you will feel better in 2.5 weeks. And they tend to feel better.
Okay, cool.
Pleasant day on Easter.
And I pulled for you Waking the Lion, which is just spirit reminding you to step out into your power. Be courageous, step forward. Try to clear yourself to figure out what it is they want you to do, and then step into it. Take your power and go for it. And that's a pretty good message for Easter time.
Yeah.
Just taking back your power.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, Marina's new bedroom is here. You go, girl. Let's see. And then I had another question up here. Kathy G, could I get a card? Sure. And while Isaac sees if anything comes to him, I will pull a card. Oh, and number B, you're being told, create that channel.
Yeah. I'm gonna do it.
Good deal. You'll have plenty of us that'll be willing to be a guest. So do what you think you're going to do with it. So Corette says thank you and hugs. And let's see. Get a card for Kathy G. Ooh. Okay. Well, I pulled for you quieting the mind. Spirit is reminding you to embrace your meditation time. Take a little extra time, get quiet, and just be open to what you feel they're saying to you. As someone who has a hard time getting my brain to shut up for 5 minutes so that I can meditate, I know how difficult that can be. But yeah, just work on your, even if it's just 5 minutes.
Sherry, when I had written down get grounded.
See there, we're already on the same page.
Yeah. And what I would say to you, Kathy, is getting grounded. It's easy for me to say, but I'll give you some ways to get grounded. Is really you can get grounded by simply paying attention to your heartbeat. Just putting your hand on your chest and feeling your heartbeat, feeling your pulse, or sitting quietly, like Sherry said, and even if you're just moving your fingers together like that, you're getting grounded in who you are. You're pulling your energy back to you. That's what I would say. And if you happen to go out in public and you feel yourself getting anxious, get grounded by looking at something sturdy in the environment, like a sturdy piece of furniture. Because what we do, and a lot of spiritual people do this and they don't realize it, their focus goes to other people just so quickly. You just walk past them and you're thinking all of this stuff is about you, but it's about what's going on around you. So you have to basically pull in your aura by pulling your energy back to you.
Especially if you're an empath.
Yes.
And so many of us are empaths in this community, and it's like you pick up all that emotion from everybody that's around you, and you have to be careful to separate yourself from them. All right. Yeah, Shaw Woman says she has the same issue. Trying to get still and be quiet.
Right. and what I would say to you, like you said, 5 minutes. If you can work your way from even 1 minute, 30 seconds, just work your way up, because it's gonna feel like, most people say, I can't do this because their mind starts to wonder a lot. See, I couldn't do this. You just go back and you focus on it, or you get something. You can even get them off of YouTube, like a guided meditation, so that you don't have to think about it. You're letting somebody else talk you through it, but keep it really short in the beginning.
I like that. All right, let's see. Serena had a question. Will I get pregnant this month?
Okay.
Do you want to get pregnant this month? Or are you asking because you don't want to be pregnant this month? That's a double-edged question there. Let me see. I'm going to do my pendulum on this. Let's see here. Okay. Will Serena get pregnant this month? Holy smokes, man. That sucker went into yes immediately. Yes is back and forth for me. And it's just going like big time. So yeah, I would say yes. At least that's what the pendulum is saying.
And
Yes, you're.
I
You'll
tarot
soon
said,
hear the pitty pat of little feet.
yeah, that what I would say is start practicing gratitude because that will calm you down so much in order for what you want to come in. Uh, and gratitude can be as simple as three things that you're grateful for each day, and one good wish for yourself or someone else. Because what we do is, and this is important to me. What we do is we tend to focus on the things that are not going well. And if you think about it, when you look at something, well, my best example is like last month we had all these azalea bushes blooming and they're beautiful. And when you look at something like a flower, a bush like that blooming, something nice, you have a visceral feeling that goes through your body that it makes, I guess it's releasing chemicals because it feels so good. But if you look at something that's bad or you think about something that's horrible, you get another feeling in your body. But what we do is we tend to collect the feelings that are bad and we check them off. We keep marking them off. But when a good feeling happens, we think that we had no control over what we do because you can do your gratitude.
Yeah.
And if you do it consistently, it just becomes a part of you. That way, we're creating good feelings in our own body. And to me, I think that's like spiritual medicine.
Something I did was I got a little notebook, like a little spiral notebook, so that every morning I could get up and just write something to be grateful for
Hmm.
and not repeat myself. Like,
Hmm.
don't say the same thing every day,
Right.
something different. And at the end of the month,
Hmm.
you're looking at 30, 31 things that you're grateful for.
Yeah.
And you don't really realize that that's in your life until you actually kind of sit down and write it out.
Right.
And it could be something as simple as, I'm grateful I can breathe today. I'm
Uh-huh.
grateful I woke up today.
Hmm.
I'm grateful that I don't have a headache today. I mean, you just, it can go from there.
I'm grateful that I have running water coming from my faucet. I
Yeah.
mean, like, I think it gets that it can be big things in the beginning, material things, and then it'll go to things that we really, really that really sustain life. So that's what I would say. And to me, that's self care.
And Gerald is here and said, nice to see you again, Isaac.
Good to see you
We got
too.
Gerald Stash in the house.
Yes.
And so if anybody else has a question or just a topic you want to hear us yak about,
Hmm.
a gratitude journal. Yes, Sean Woman. That's I'm actually in the process of just starting to try to do um like journals that I can put
Hmm.
in the Amazon store
Uh huh.
to sell. There's a couple of videos out there that kind of walk you through the process, what to do and how to do it.
Hmm.
And like they were talking about, it's not like you have to sit down and write a book.
Right.
You're just picking a cover of what you think is appropriate, and then it's filled with blank pages
Hmm.
for people, and you can be kind of decorative in the pages if you want. But
Right.
so I've been kind of thinking about doing that, maybe something like a card pull every day or a
Hmm.
gratitude every day, something somebody can just keep a
Hmm.
little journal and keep it all together. But yeah, I'm the ideas floating in my brain. I just literally haven't had the time to sit down and work on it.
Uh huh. Yeah. But Sherry, you give people such good advice. And I think what I would encourage people to do is because, and I've seen your show and I've seen other things that you talk about, is the thing that really um, works for you or you feel best about, keep doing it, because that's what's going to work for you.
Right.
It maybe not find the latest and the greatest, but if she says something and you say, "Oh, that resonates with me," uh, I feel good about that. Keep doing it, because that's
Yeah.
going to help you.
Yeah. That's what I've been trying to do
Hmm.
it's just to kind of just go with what's happening. I mean, I get these wild hairs where I want to do a show and I want it to be a certain topic, and
Uh-huh.
sometimes we stick to it and sometimes it goes way off the rails. It just depends, So,
Uh-huh.
but I try to just be open to whatever it is that needs to happen in that moment,
Right.
because something that may seem silly to me may be exactly what somebody sitting in the chat needs to hear,
Yes. Yes.
and is important or is life changing for them.
Hmm.
And I have to stop and remind myself of that sometimes, that I'm not perfect. I'm not the best card reader in the world.
Hmm.
I'm still learning a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
But if I just go with the flow of it, then things seem to turn out okay.
Hmm.
And so that's what I do. Just take it a little step at a time.
That's it.
And oh, here we go. Sean Woman had for list 50 things and go back and add one more under each of those, making it 100, and try to keep going
Wow.
for like gratitudes.
Yeah.
That's being really aggressive. Some
Yes.
people would do good to come up with 5 things, much less
Yeah.
50 things,
Yeah.
because you don't really think about
Hmm.
something as simple as, I'm grateful my car started this morning so I can go to
Right.
work, or
Uh-huh.
I'm grateful I have electricity so I can drink coffee and
Right.
make it in the coffee pot. I'm
Hmm.
grateful I have running water so I can flush the toilet.
Right.
I don't have to go out in the bushes. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yeah. 50. That's ambitious.
yeah, that's very ambitious,
Uh-huh.
but that's a good thing. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, hi, Lauren, welcome to the show. Um, so if y'all have any other questions or topics
Hmm.
you want us to yak about, or we'll just sit here and shoot the crap and
Uh-huh.
talk about whatever. Didn't have anything planned for today. We were just gonna hang out. I
Yeah.
hadn't hung out with Isaac in a while. I was missing him, so I was like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
give him a buzz, see what if he's available anytime soon.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
as one of the things I'm grateful for with this community is all the friends I've made,
Yes.
people that I never would have met in a million years,
Hmm.
that now I'm friends with. I can email them, I can text or call them on the phone to
Right.
vent if there's a bad day, and vice versa.
Hmm.
I had one of the girls that's a friend of mine the other day sent me a text and said, "Can you call me tonight? Can we talk tonight?" And I could tell by her voice that something wasn't right. I was like, "Absolutely." And yeah, we spent a good hour on the phone. I threw some cards for her, try to help her through it, and
Hmm.
hopefully she felt better when it was all said and done.
Hmm.
And because sometimes you just need somebody else there to tell you it's going to be okay.
Right. That's true.
And let's see. All right, son of what? Can I have a card reading for April? Of course you can. I'm gonna go to my new deck because I'm really enjoying this new deck. This 7 Energies Oracle.
Okay.
It's got some. The pictures in it are gorgeous. And that's right, Sean Woman. We're just winging it tonight.
Yes.
I mean, we're going into 35 minutes and we've only been winging it. So y'all haven't run away yet. So we must be doing something right.
Right. And we both seem to be pretty good at winging it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole
I
thing.
think I've
Just
been
don't
winging it most
stop.
of my life.
Don't stop. Keep moving, because you're gonna have to keep moving anyway. You're gonna
Exactly.
move. I think you're going to move in a positive way, or even if you're depressed, you're going to keep moving. So you might as well do what's best for
That's it.
you.
Because if
And
you don't keep moving, what happens? You become stagnant.
yes,
You
yes,
know, I think in terms of looking at water,
yes,
if the water isn't moving, then it becomes stagnant and it gets dirty and smelly and fills up with all kinds of unpleasant things that grow in that atmosphere. And we don't want to do that.
uh-huh.
All right, son of what? I pull from you. Take a deep breath. That's a good reminder for all of us to
Okay.
just take a deep breath. Just
Hmm.
take it, like breathe in through your nose, maybe like count to 5 or 6, and then hold it for a couple of seconds, and then breathe out through your mouth.
Hmm.
But breathe out longer than you breathed in.
Yeah.
And it will not only pull all of your internal organs up into their proper place, but it will also, from what it's been explained to me, it's something about the process of doing that
Yes.
will make you feel better. You know, it's something about getting that air up into your system and then blowing it out when you're done with it.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know if you have anything for him, Isaac, or not, but
Well, just what you're saying, and I've heard you explain that before, and it's connected from, and I'm not a doctor, but what I understand is that it's connected to the vagus nerve that goes from the head and all the way down to the body, but it's the only nerve that sends messages back up. It's also connected to the stomach, so it calms a person. It calms the anxiety, and I've heard that the angels communicate with us through our breath, and
oh,
that's what
that's
I've heard.
cool.
And even if you did just like the 3 of the deep breaths each day, because most people, when they are trying to raise their vibration, they're going to do 3 deep breaths before they do a reading or whatever. So that's what I would say too. But I
Yeah, I
think,
do that before I go on. I step out on the patio and do
mhm,
a few Gikong movements of just flowing movements and
yeah,
deep breaths, just to kind
yeah,
of like open myself up,
hmm,
and let's
hmm,
not be blocked myself.
uh-huh.
Um,
I think we have everything we need on board, but we don't. I think what our thing is, we know maybe like, okay, that worked for me, and we may forget about it. But some people are doing these things all the time and they don't see them as a calming tool or a connecting to spirit tool. It's just what they think this is just what I do. So they don't
you
know.
don't connect the dots. Yeah,
Right. Right.
cool. And Colleen was saying that she's loving the discussion on gratitude. And that's exactly what Isaac was saying. It gets your mind off of the
Hmm.
little everyday things and allows you to kind of open up to something
Hmm.
greater than yourself.
Hmm.
Hi, Jessree. And then Lauren said, yeah, yes, this weekend is one of the readers' birthday.
Okay.
And the big, uh, was it 50 or 60? I don't remember now which one. It was one of the, like she's rolling into the next decade. And her younger sister, managed to pull off a surprise birthday party for her online last night by getting a bunch of different people to pop in just to say happy birthday and everything. It blew
Oh,
her away. And I know her sister had contacted me the beginning of the week asking me if I would be willing to pop in. I was like, absolutely. I mean,
hmm,
when I first got started doing this, she was one of the first ones that was there to encourage me. The
yeah.
least I can do is say happy birthday. I'm not going to sing it, but I'll say it. So you don't want to hear me sing it. So
Oh,
let's see. Gerald, yeah, Gerald's agreeing.
okay.
And
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. We have a question. A message from Spirit for the rest of the month. Okay. All right, Jess, the first thing I pulled was earth magic, part of grounding. We're all part of this earth. And what I love is you're seeing the energy from the earth flowing up through the ground and into her feet as a means of just filling you up with that energy. Um, I know a lot of us, when we do guided meditations and stuff, we imagine the light around us filling us and letting us send it back out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all through the grounding properties of,
Mm-hmm.
of,
Mm-hmm.
of so that's what I'm getting, is just to ground yourself. Take
Mm-hmm.
that couple of minutes, take that 30 seconds, work up to 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Be quiet, find a quiet spot,
Yeah.
outside or in a room, or I do better if I go outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
Inside, even if it's cold or really hot, I still do better to go sit outside when I do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just something about being in nature that kind of kicks it in for me. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
What I'm getting is focus on yourself, and and from the point of taking care, and I'm trying to figure out how to put this, taking care of you, and the words that are coming to mind are more than you're taking care of other people, but I'm thinking it's going to be a balancing act. It seems like you may be losing energy, making sure that everyone else is okay, but make sure you're okay. Uh, and it can be done. It's a balance. You don't have to. It's not either or. I take care of myself, so I stop taking care of other people. It's you take care of yourself in the same way you would take care of other people, if that makes sense.
yeah, no, if you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of someone else?
Right. Right.
I spent 10 years taking care of my mom
Uh-huh.
through dementia
Uh-huh.
as she steadily got worse.
Uh-huh.
And the hardest part for me was to take time out
Mm-hmm.
for me to recharge,
Mm-hmm.
because then I would feel guilty I wasn't there taking care of my mom.
Right.
But if I didn't do that, then I didn't have the patience to deal with her. I didn't have the energy to do what needed to be done.
Yes.
And we both suffered because of it.
Right. Right.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that's very important, is
Mm-hmm.
get grounded and take care of yourself.
Right.
I get that message a lot for a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
when I read. It's like Spirit is really trying to get people to realize you got to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, think about if you're on an airplane and oxygen masks drop.
Mm-hmm.
What's the first thing they tell you? Put the mask on yourself first,
Mm-hmm.
and then put them on the people around you.
Yes.
Because if you don't put a mask on first, you're not going to be any good to anybody else that's near you, because you're
Exactly.
going to be passed out on the floor
Yes.
for lack of oxygen. So we have to think about it in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
That let's see.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there we go. See, feeling drained and tired,
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
and that's, I think, part of the American psyche, is we're told
Mm-hmm.
keep going, keep going, keep going, keep pushing, and nobody stops and says, maybe put the brakes on,
Right.
get off the track for a little while,
Mm-hmm.
and just enjoy a day. Go to the park.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the beach if you live somewhere where there's a beach. Go sit by the pool if there's a pool where you live. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of, go to the movies, whatever. There's
Mm-hmm.
usually something fairly decent to watch at the movies.
Right.
Um, Although I have to admit, I still haven't gone to the theater since COVID. Something about it is like I get uncomfortable. It's I haven't gotten past that point yet of
Mm-hmm.
going into that dark theater and where I don't know who's around me and
Uh-huh.
or who was sitting in the chair before me or that kind of thing. So yeah, I guess that'll just take time for a lot of us to get past.
Right.
Um, uh, all right.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome, Jess.
I'm glad it helped, Jess.
Yeah. Do it gradually. Don't try to do it all in one day. Just
Absolutely.
practice.
Baby, excuse me, baby steps. Think baby steps.
Yeah.
Little baby steps at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And and that will help you kind of deal with what's the next thing on your plate.
Mm-hmm.
And does anybody else want a card or just as a question they want us to
Yeah.
give a little guidance on? I mean, Isaac and I both like to talk, so that's not a problem.
That one thing, Sherry, that is that I I realized I do. When I was growing up, people would say, "Oh, you're shy." I wouldn't talk. I think I was listening. Maybe I was taking in information and I didn't need to talk.
I was
But
the same way when I was a kid.
really, isn't that amazing? I'm amazed at how much I talk now.
Yeah,
Uh,
I never shut up. That's my problem.
Me too.
But when I was little, it was like pulling teeth. You couldn't get anything out of me.
Me either. Me either. That's something.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wild.
Sometimes I tell myself in my head, "Shut up, shut up."
Yeah, I do that a lot. It's like, okay, you've been rambling for 5 minutes. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Let somebody else talk. And it's because I have that horrible dilemma of the silence
Uh-huh.
starts to get to me, and it's like I have to fill it up.
That doesn't bother me, but I just have a lot to say.
Well, that too. Tend to be bossy. You want to tell everybody what to do and how to do it.
Hey,
Uh,
when they're quiet, that just gives me a lot more opportunity.
I think it's a Southern thing.
Yeah,
Maybe so. We're just so used to always gabbing with people that
yeah.
it feels weird. I know when I first moved to Phoenix
Hmm.
and people would like drive by or walk by and I'd go, hey, and I'd wave and they'd look at me like I was weird. Like, who's that woman waving at us? I don't know her.
Right. What is she
And
doing?
I had to read it's like in the South, if you don't do it, people are going to think, what's wrong with her? Why doesn't she wave and say hello when
Right.
we go by?
Right.
It's the exact opposite. So,
Yeah. Mm. But one thing that I've learned. Oh, what do we got?
yeah, sometimes you do have more power when you don't speak.
Yeah. I think the Dalai Lama said something. I'm not going to quote him perfectly. I have a friend that I'll quote things, and I tell him it's the Bible, and he says they didn't say that. But anyway, but it doesn't stop me. But anyway, um, I what I thought about was one thing that I learned is accept kindness from where it comes, because sometimes I think the universe always puts people in our lives who will be kind to us. And sometimes we miss it because we're looking for it to come from certain people or certain places.
Yeah.
But if you can learn to accept kindness from where it comes and where you're not finding it, or where you think of people are difficult or people are standoffish, just let it go. You will gain so much power by just accepting kindness where it comes and moving on. Because
That and to be kind to others yourself.
exactly.
A smile can work wonders,
Yes.
especially if you see somebody that's got a really sour look on their face.
Yeah.
You don't know if it's like, did they just get bad news? Are they just in a bad mood? Do they not feel good?
Yeah.
But I know over the years I've learned that if I just smile and say, hi, how are you today?
Mm-hmm.
It's something about just, it's kind of like yawning. You smile, people tend to smile back.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they don't feel like smiling, they don't even realize they're doing it.
Yeah.
Just like if you yawn in a room full of people, before you know it, everybody in the room's yawning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I don't know why or how that works, but it just does.
Mm-hmm.
I like what Shaw Woman said there.
Mm-hmm.
Some come for a reason, others just for a season.
That's true. And
That is very, very true.
and there's a lesson in all of it. There's a lesson.
That's it. Because it's not just what we may do for others, but it's what you get back if that person looks really sad or pissed or whatever. And you
Mm-hmm.
smile and say, hey, and then they smile back.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep the smile as they walk away. That means more to me than if they stop to talk to me.
Right.
Just knowing that whatever it was for me, just smiling and saying hey to them was enough to let them keep that smile and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And live, learn, love, laugh. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Smile can do wonders. Right, Gerald. Exactly what Isaac was saying. We've got to learn to notice the little things.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be from the big important person that's walking around that you make that connection with. It could be whoever the assistant is trudging behind them trying to keep up and haul all their stuff. It's offering them that little bit of smile or a thumbs up. Or
Right.
I mean, I deal with a lot of students. I'm not a teacher. I don't teach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just an admin. I sit in an office and I type on a computer all day. But I have a lot of students that make a point that when they're in our building up on our floor, they will come swing through just to say hi to me. Because
Mm-hmm.
they know there's going to be candy in the candy jar,
Mm-hmm.
and they can grab something for a little instant sugar hit.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to put candy that I don't like so that I don't eat it. Otherwise, the bowl would be empty.
Mm-hmm.
And just someplace, sometimes they'll come and they just poke their head in the door and say, hey, Miss Sherry, just want to say hi. And then they're off and running.
Mm-hmm.
And other times they come in and they just want to come hang out for a little bit,
Right.
And I feel blessed when that happens. That
Mm-hmm.
this 20-year-old
Mm-hmm.
feels comfortable enough with this 60-something-year-old
Mm-hmm.
to just come hang out, and talk about their day or
Mm-hmm.
their boyfriend or their girlfriend or their spouse or their kids or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We have because of the department I work in, we have a lot of foreign students.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them from countries that kind of openness isn't normal. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
it kind of takes them a while to realize that they can just come in and say, hey, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't need a reason, whatever. And if they just want to hang out and talk a little bit, I'm perfectly willing to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm working on a project and I'll have to tell them, keep talking, I'm listening, but I got to get this done. I'm typing while I'm listening. I can do both.
Right.
And I've had people ask me, you don't type what they're saying? And I'm like, no. That's a different part of my brain I'm using. It's called compartmentalization.
Uh-huh.
I can focus on what I'm typing and I can focus on what they're saying.
Uh-huh.
But There we go. Unanswered prayers are answered prayers. That's
Yeah.
right. Sometimes the answer is no
Right.
for a very good reason.
Uh-huh.
You know, and sometimes it's having that no is allows us to be available for something better,
Right.
or
Right.
keeps us from being in a situation where
Mm-hmm.
we might get hurt from it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That reminds me of something that Abraham says. Abraham says you can't get it done and you can't get it wrong. You can't get it wrong because it can never be done. And what it simply means is everything that's happening is opening up another door for some other learning. And you can't get life wrong. You just can't. You can all you can say is, "Oh, I did that in the moment because I thought this was going to happen, but it didn't. So what do I do now?" It should to me it should all be a learning experience.
yeah, yeah, I like listening to Abraham Hicks.
Yeah.
I know there's a YouTube channel where it's like a cartoon,
Yeah.
and it's one of their people that she like narrates.
Right.
It's her speech, but they put it to cartoon form, which is
Right.
makes it very interesting to watch. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I like to watch those. Those are kind of cool. And hi, Teresa TK.
Hi, Teresa.
Hugs to you. Teresa always gives out hugs to everybody in every chat, and which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
You see her name, and you know somebody's going to say hugs, and it makes you feel good.
hmm
And let me see. I saw something else up here. Oh, Kathy put this. Coming to all the different chats brings me joy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I listen all day long. I listen to other readers
hmm
at work. I mean, a lot of times I can't really chat because I'm working on something and I just can't focus on that, but I can listen, you know, and then if something really hits me, then I might flip around and write something out real quick. But yeah, I try to listen. There's a couple of musical groups, a cappella groups that I like to listen to that I'll sit in there and jam to some music. I'll plug my earbuds in,
hmm
and the people come to my door and they know to do this number because
hmm
my ears are plugged in. I don't hear them. So,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah. I'll
but
do that during the day as well. If I have a block where I'm free, I'll plug in my earbuds or I'll listen to music and just something that I guess makes me feel good. That's what I would encourage people to do. Things like that.
oh,
Otherwise, I would
absolutely,
fill it in with worry.
yeah. It's just like in a counseling mode. A lot of times, the hard part is to just stay quiet so that they will open up
hmm
because we tend to want to talk and fill up the empty space,
hmm
and then the other person never speaks at all because you never shut up. So
hmm
that's one of the things I've been teaching myself to do, especially with the students when they pop in. I figure if they pop in and they're not just grabbing a candy and saying hey and then running out the door again,
hmm
there's a reason why they popped in. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
they just need to hang somewhere for a little bit, or they need to talk about something,
hmm
and they've learned they can do that with,
hmm
with me. I became part of a program on campus called Project Allies
hmm
to provide a safe space for LGBTQ
hmm
students.
hmm
And once we went through the training, we were given like a special um, sticker thing that we could put on our door
hmm
so that when students walk by, they would know, oh, safe space.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody's getting harassed or bullied or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
they know they can come hang out with me for a little while and
Mm-hmm.
everything's cool. And I felt real strongly about it because, like I said, a lot of our students are foreign.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them come from countries that, if they were to come out of the closet,
Mm-hmm.
that could mean being completely cut off from their families
Yeah.
or a death sentence, even. I mean, most of our kids come from families with money. That's how they can afford to come to America, go to
Uh-huh.
school.
Mm-hmm.
But they come from very strict families, and
Mm-hmm.
the family's the one that tells them what they're going to study and what they're going to do. And,
Right.
and they can't buck the system. They can't get here and decide, well, I'm going to study this instead.
Mm-hmm.
No, no, daddy will cut you off in a heartbeat.
Right. Right.
And then you got to figure it out on your own. Let's see. Gerald's got a question for us.
Oh,
Oh,
this is what I would say, Gerald. Um, if you're finding if you're trying to find inspiration to write again, I wouldn't put a lot of pressure on myself, because when it's time to do, you may write differently from other people. So when you feel inspired, write. But I think sometimes we think of ourselves as this person sits down and they just write out pages and pages. I would say when you feel inspired, write. And if you think you just want to write something, do it in intervals, maybe like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or those ideas that pop in your head. That's what you need to write down or put it in your phone. That's going to start that spark so that you can finish a story. Because I think when we tell spirit that we want to do something, it will give us ideas. And a good example would be like when you have a deadline or something that you need to do, maybe a person that you need to call or task that you need to do. Spirit will tell you. And what do? We say, okay, I'll do that later. I'll remember it. But we don't remember it. We keep putting it off until the person finally calls us and say, oh, I thought you were going to call me back. But think how many times you would have remembered that before that person had to call you. And what I do now is, and I still put it off, but if I hear it and I say, okay, I'll do that later. But if I hear it the third time, I'll do it right then. I try to do it when I hear it. If I don't, I'll forget it. Like make a note in your phone that you need to pick up. Uh,
have sticky pads
right.
everywhere.
You make a note.
I have post-it notes stuck everywhere because little ideas that pop in my head, and I'll just jot it down.
Hmm.
And
And I think that's spirit. That's not us doing that. If it was us, we would remember, right? But it's not us. We're not remember. If we were doing it, we would remember. But it's not us. Spirit is giving us these ideas, and so if we write them down, Spirit is going to give us more ideas.
that, and I've heard people say, just sit down and write. Even if it's gobbledygook, just sit down and write. You'd be amazed sometimes what comes out
Mm-hmm.
when you just sit down and start going through the motions. Um, there we go. That's the one I was trying to click on. Yeah, exactly, Shaw Woman. Sometimes you're just not in the mood to write. I know one of my favorite authors. Literally, when she started writing and publishing books, she turned it into like an 8-hour day. She goes into her office
Mm-hmm.
and shuts the door, and she just writes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it may be on 3 or 4 different books, but she just writes whatever comes to her and then files it away, And if she's working on a book, then she's like, I disciplined myself to sit down and write X amount of hours. I go in my office, I shut the door, everybody knows I'm working.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what she does, is she sits and writes. Now, not everybody can do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were saying, some people have to be able to feel that spark move through them.
Mm-hmm.
Go sit down and write this down before you forget.
Mm-hmm.
Because a week later you may come back to it and go, that's exactly the point I was trying to make.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can go from there with it. It just it takes time. That, and then just the willingness to do it. It's the same with journaling. I mean, even if you only write a couple of sentences,
Yeah.
just write something every day. It's even if it's just. I mean, there have been times I've journaled and just said, "It's Thursday. I don't have anything to say. I'll come back tomorrow," and that's it. That's all I put in there.
Uh-huh.
But it's making myself do it every day. Voice record to your phone. Yes, that's another. Most phones now, you can dictate an entire novel to your phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people, I see a lot of the faculty do that, is
Mm-hmm.
walking down the hall and suddenly the phone comes out and they're blah, 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 into the phone.
Yeah.
And then go on about their business. So it's, whatever a concept, a way to teach something will pop into their head, and they
Right.
just, and they may not remember it an hour later when their class is over.
Right.
And then they're sitting there going, what was that thought I had?
All possibilities exist.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. We're always getting guidance, and I think we can sometimes ignore it, but we're always getting guidance telling us what we should do, or we're feeling inspired to do something. It's like one day I was maybe a couple of weeks ago, I was going to work, and we can dress down on Friday. And I put on these cargo pants and a polo shirt, and I'm like, I'm gonna wear this today because I've never dressed down. And I kept thinking about it, and I changed, and I put on a pair of dress pants. And as I was driving to work, I got this feeling of, the only thing I could describe it as is overthinking or some type of anxiety. And I'm like, well, I don't usually feel anxious about stuff, especially this time of morning. And I'm like, okay, did I leave the stove on? And I never turn on the stove in the morning. Did I leave a light on? And it just kept going around in my head, and I just sort of put it out in my head. I get to work, sitting there. I'm talking to the counselor next to me. We're talking. One of the ladies come up. She said, could I get y'all to help me for a minute? And like, we said, sure. What's going on? Because it may have just been reading something or whatever. She said, I have to move a desk, and I need some help. And so we're in there moving this big old desk and sweating and everything. And then I get back to my office. I said, cargo pants. So when I didn't listen, I got all these other feelings that, oh, you're not going in the right direction, or you didn't go in the right direction. And I don't think it was like a punishment. I think that was just my signal for, yeah, you probably should have done this.
Yeah.
I think we're always getting messages. We just have to learn how we get them and when to listen to them.
I think that's the biggest drawback is when to listen, when to plug in
Mm-hmm.
and be quiet and just let spirit talk to you.
Uh-huh.
And because in the beginning it's going to be a lot harder.
Yeah.
because you're not used to listening for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of been my journey for the past couple of years, is learning to actually hear what they're trying to tell me so
Right.
that I can go forward with whatever it is that I'm working on.
Right.
Um, and I'm still working on it. I'm still not the best at it,
Yeah.
but I'm still working on it.
Uh-huh. And I think my thing is like I always want additional information.
Oh yeah, welcome to my world. Well, tell me more.
That's it. That's it. Exactly. Tell me exactly what I need to hear.
Give me step-by-step instructions,
That's
especially if it's something technical. I'm
every
not going to
time.
remember it.
Every time.
That's it. That's it.
But I'm getting there. I think we all are. We're all getting there.
Well, and I think just because of the times that we're in right now,
Mm-hmm.
everybody is so tired.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of why I keep getting messages for people telling them to get grounded,
Mm-hmm.
to take care of yourself, to
Yeah.
step back a minute, catch your breath. Because I think everybody's just exhausted from the past, 6, 7 years,
Yeah.
and just dealing with all of that mess. And it's like nobody wants to deal with it anymore. They're like, I want to go back to bed, sleep a little longer. Don't we all?
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That I think to me what I'm learning is if I feel anxious, that anxiety is trying to get my attention about something. Because otherwise we wouldn't pay attention to it. If we didn't have anxiety behind it, we would not pay attention.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm. That's it.
Well, I don't see any more questions. I think I've posted all the comments
Hmm.
going for random thoughts. And we've already been here an hour and 15 minutes.
It's past,
It
to me, it's
doesn't
past
seem
20.
that long. It seems like we just started.
Hmm.
Um, so I guess we'll go ahead and say goodbye for now. I got the dogs giving me the evil eye, like it's time to eat. It's time to go walk, and then it's time to eat.
Okay.
So thank you, Isaac, for coming back and just hanging out with me. You're
Thank
welcome
you.
anytime.
Thank you for inviting me.
Anytime you want to come hang, just
Okay.
shoot me an email and I'll squeeze you in somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe when I uh, start my channel,
There you go.
I'll appear with you first to announce.
That works.
Figure out what I'm gonna do.
That works. There's lots of people here that everybody be more than happy to help you get going on it. So,
Okay.
and all you got to do is say the word. You'll have more volunteers you know what to do with.
Okay.
And so, thank you everybody for coming. Y'all have a happy Easter.
Yes.
Try not to eat too much chocolate because it's not good for you and will give you an upset tummy. Um, and I'm kind of fixing Easter dinner tonight because tomorrow I want to just be a vegetable and not do anything. So
That sounds good.
I will be back tomorrow afternoon with Juno. We're going to do the destiny cards and the oracle card reading for tomorrow. Just kind of laid back. We're not going to do the Jin Shin Jitsu. We're just going to do the destiny cards. And so if you haven't gotten a reading yet, pop in and say hello and
Okay, Gerald.
put your information in, and we'll do a reading. Or if you want to do something on your child or your spouse or whatever, um, Remember, all we need is the birth month and the birthday. We don't need the year. We don't care how old you are.
Mhm.
And it's this really cool concept that she learned to do. And it's with like a regular deck of cards,
Okay.
but it's broken down into your birth month and your birthday of what your destiny is, more or less, and it's so far everybody she reads on has been like spot on. It's
Mm.
and she's been studying and learning to do it for past 20 years. So
Okay.
it's really interesting.
Mhm.
And so every other Sunday, Juno and I get together and we do our little thing for an hour on a Sunday afternoon, and we decided we're going to go ahead and do it tomorrow, even if it is Easter,
Mhm.
because neither one of us celebrate Easter, so to speak. So
Mhm. Okay.
just another day, like in Japan.
Yeah. That's it.
I was listening. Yes, I was. Oh my goodness. Well, thank y'all very much. Everybody have a wonderful holiday weekend.
Yes.
And oh, I see Gerald saying, "I'd love to have you back."
Oh, yes.
He's a lot of fun to hang with.
Yes.
And
I'll be glad to do it, Gerald.
just say the word. He's your
Yes.
man. He'll be there.
Yes. I'll be there.
So y'all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, holiday weekend. Enjoy your time off if you get time off from work. And I will see a lot of y'all tomorrow.
Yes.
And hopefully soon we'll have Isaac back and just hang out and do some more. Maybe get Gerald and a few other people in here too, and we'll just have a party.
Yes.
And that always works for me. So,
Hmm.
all right, guys. Well, we will see y'all later.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.